السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته. بسم الله والحمد لله والصلاة والسلام على رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم. رب اشرح لي صدري يسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Hope you are all doing fine. Inshallah, this is our second video, the Dawah tips and techniques. We are going to be focused on how to start our conversation. So we have 3 points that there is pre-initiation, which is right before starting, your da'wah day or before starting the conversation, how to start an effective initiation and how to reply to some apologies that arise when you are trying to start the conversation. During the conversation, some tips, techniques, handling questions and disagreements that are faced within the conversation, and finally how to close the conversation. Okay, there are 3 steps that are very important in our da'wah we need to focus on during the conversation. Okay, first step is to attract the hearts, second is to inform, third is to assign. Whatever comes from the heart goes to the heart. These 3 steps could be used with Muslims and non-Muslims. As we said, there is da'wah to Muslims, so these 3 steps are for both. How come for Muslims? When you have a Muslim who doesn't practice Islam, or he's practicing but he doesn't make da'wah, so in order to encourage him to make da'wah or practice Islam, these are the 3 steps needed: is to attract the hearts, inform, and then assign. We have some examples written here. Attract the hearts, which is through your manners, being friendly, being helpful, smiling, giving gifts. So you are attracting the heart of the mad'u, which is the person you are trying to call. Then there must be some information about yourself, giving information about Islam, God, hereafter, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and then assign or obligate him to, okay, we need now to worship God, being thankful to God and accept Islam. So these 3 phases must be very clear and within our objective. Okay, how to start our da'wah. Okay, there are 2 types of da'wah: indirect da'wah and direct da'wah. When we are trying to make da'wah, there are 3 important items, or communication can be categorized into 3 different items, which is the first, the thought, which is the idea or feeling we are trying to communicate. Then we communicate through encoding, which is symbols or words that we use, and finally decoding by the receiver, who translates the message to understand. So there are some messages that we deliver through indirect way and some messages we deliver in a direct way. Indirect way could be achieved within a group. It is best achieved, it is done within a group, or others could be practiced individually by yourself. You can deliver the message of Islam individually. Okay, examples of group activities could be taking active part in some activities in non-Muslim communities, such as humanitarian interests, fighting drugs, helping patients. If you join these groups, would be helpful for da'wah, of course. Using Islamic holidays and special events, trying to project good image of Islam and Muslims, trying to post advertisements and announce topics for lectures and classes that are conducted at your mosque or masjid, and of course doing acts of worship in public is very affecting and one of the commonly used methods for indirect da'wah, just as praying or making wudu. There is a very helpful ideas in this link. It's a website called Dawah Skills. Very helpful ideas for indirect da'wah to do, whether at work, at campus, with your friends. You can collect some ideas from it. It could be useful, could be applied. Of course, you can choose what is convenient and suitable at your campus, inshallah. Okay, What about the individual indirect da'wah? Okay, there is a very important rule to remember, that people will not care how much you know till they know how much you care. So you need to have a like a da'wah list of people, your neighbors, your colleagues, your friends, and you are trying to apply the following with them. Of course, as we said, we need to attract the heart first, so be very friendly, trying to build a friendship and a trust with someone who you are calling. Invite questions like saying, I'm going for prayer, I don't eat or drink today, you're fasting. But of course, be prepared to explain if he asked what is prayer. And as we said, you reply with the main concept of Islam. You don't reply with explaining what is praying or fasting. No, you reply what is Islam first. Invite him to masjid open days, gatherings. Of course, let them see you pray. Be identified as a Muslim, whether through you are having a beard or through hijab. This makes people want to ask you about it. Be polite and caring, and if you're asked why, say that this is Islam, this is my religion. You can make a phone call while the non-Muslim is around you and you are discussing religion with someone, so this could create an interest for him. Having Islamic pictures like Kaaba, Mecca, always keep da'wah material visible for him. Exchange, of course, visits and gifts. Praise their good qualities and good things, but of course, qualities and good things that are not contradicting with Islam. And wear t-shirts that send an Islamic message, such as this one. People could be interested. Okay, one of the most important things in doing individual indirect da'wah is make da'wah to single individuals and not to a group. The most effective da'wah is one-to-one. Giving da'wah to groups may create group mentality where each person is affected by other feedback and replies. And remember that people who followed the Prophet ﷺ were given da'wah when they were alone. So it was one-to-one da'wah, but very few number of people who followed the Prophet ﷺ were given to da'wah within a group. So it is da'wah within a group is very weak, but the most powerful da'wah is one-to-one da'wah. And one of the most famous examples or stories about it is the Prophet ﷺ uncle Abu Talib, who died as a non-believer because the elders of Mecca were around him when he died, and they practiced this. There was group mentality. He was afraid to say that he believed and he has a faith because they were around him. So don't try to gather your friends and speak about Islam. This will not work. No, try to make it one-to-one da'wah with the person you are targeting. Okay, going back to our second type, which is direct da'wah initiation. Okay, we spoke about the indirect, we now speak about the direct. Okay, how to start? Before starting pre-initiation, we need to choose the right place and right time. Okay, a place that is visible, that is shady, in order to open conversation and have a little chat with the people about Islam. So it must be convenient to sit down, a relaxing place. Of course, it must be crowded. We're not going making da'wah in a place where no one sees us. Second, you need to have some pamphlets or da'wah cards, okay, with suitable subjects according to the audience, atheists, Christians. So you need to have the suitable pamphlets. And of course, there are pamphlets and da'wah cards that could be used with any faith which is presenting Islam and speaking about Islam, Quran, the Prophet ﷺ, women in Islam, foundations of Islam. These could be used anywhere. You need to have some attractive titles and signs. Where some people could post like posters saying ask about Islam. Okay, but it is best to ask a question that is related to life, such as this example: what is the purpose of life? What's your goal? Is life just a game? Why were you born? This is a bit attractive method to make people interested. Don't say just Islam. They will know that behind this is Islam. It is quite obvious, but it is better to have a question, and it is preferred to be a question, not a statement. Even the Quran, you will see it always posing question: أَفَلَا يَتَدَبَّرُونَ أَفَلَا يَعْقِلُونَ. So posing a question is better than just giving a statement. Of course, visual aids should be employed. It helps in getting the message across. People nowadays are visually oriented, mobile phones, TVs, laptops, so we're very visually oriented. Okay, unified da'wah uniform, such as picture we have. This is a uniform at Ahlan. One God, one message, and the Prophet's names is written: Adam, Abraham, Moses, Jesus, and Muhammad, peace be and blessing upon them all. Helps very in opening conversation, make you differentiated from the rest of the people also around you. And finally, you need to plan and revise before starting, your day. Do your homework, memorize how to present Islam, read the answers for the most common question asked by atheists, by Christians, misconception about Islam. Always revise before starting the day. Okay, you are there and you have started the day and prepared your pamphlets and did your homework, and now you are in the street or at campus and you want to have a good and effective initiation. Of course, having a smile, such as this guy over here, having a big smile on your face. Whatever problems you have in your life, don't go doing da'wah and you are sad or your face is not smiling. Having a smiling and of course greeting people. And remember, first impression always lies. Choose your audience. Don't choose someone who is busy on a phone in a rush, someone who is eating. Of course, avoid shaking hands as a first. Not all people are comfortable with shaking hands. As Arabs, shaking hands at the beginning of the conversation, it is it's you can say we are used to it, but in Western countries, shaking hands at the beginning, it's not really comfortable. Try to stop, not to chase. Okay, you are trying to stop people. Our goal is to chat, not to give material, because this is very important. Our goal is to chat with people about Islam, not just to throwing material at them. And it is also very important, you are not chasing the guy, insisting that you give him some material about Islam. If he refuses, then that's it. Don't try to push it. Examples of what to say. Okay, you are standing over there with pamphlet in your hands, and what to say. For example, excuse me, we're having a discussion about the purpose of life. What do you think about that? We are having about a discussion about, for example, happiness. What do you think about that? What are your thoughts about Islam? Okay, this is a second opinion that you can ask directly about Islam. But remember, do not ask close-ended questions. Do you want to chat about Islam? If someone says no, you don't have a chance to continue. Make da'wah together. Don't make da'wah alone, which means when someone has stopped and you are beginning chatting with him about Islam, it is preferable that someone is with you. So you are two making da'wah, but remember, only one speaker. You are two making da'wah. Most probably if someone alone stops, so two is quite enough as a number. So don't ever make two persons speaking, only one speaker at a time. Okay, only one speaker, and you must decide before someone stops which one of you is going to speak. Don't make the listener confused, hearing this guy and then hearing this guy. No, only one speaker at a time. Focus with the other person. Okay, for example, I go to make da'wah with a friend. My friend is a speaker. Whom am I going to look at? I don't look at the non-Muslim. I look at my brother who is speaking. Why? To draw the listener attention. Don't make him uncomfortable as if all the talking is to him. No, this talk is for all of us. So focus with the speaker also. You need also to hear about Islam. Never interrupt the speaker unless he is confused. Okay, he's confused. He has paused for a while and he has nothing in his mind. You can help him, but never interrupt him. Even if he finishes his conversation, don't continue after him, because if you continue after him, the listener is now ready to go. Okay, the you can say the chat is over and he is now leaving, and you are feeling that if he hears this information or this verse or this saying by the prophet, he will be convinced, or this topic will be closed more effectively. Don't say it. If the conversation closes, don't continue after the speaker. And this is very important to manage how to make da'wah together. Okay, don't go there two people speaking at the same time or continue after each other, only one speaking and the other is looking at him with complete focus. Now you are facing some apologies. You are trying to start your conversation and people making apology. First, you can face neglection. It happens, okay? You're just, someone passes by and he doesn't even look at you, okay? What do you say? Have a good day. Someone says to you, no thank you, have a good day. Whether he is, attacking you or not, be friendly, be kind to everyone. So treating with neglection, just treat it nicely and tell them, okay, thank you, have a good day, because one day inshallah he will come back and ask you for something. Okay, someone saying, I am not religious, thank you, I'm not religious, I don't need Islam, I don't speak about any religion. So what to say to this guy? It's not a matter of religion, it's about culture exchange. Muslims are 1.5 billion, 1 out of every 5 people in this world is a Muslim. What do you think if someone says that Chinese have blonde hair? Or you can answer another with another answer. We are speaking about the purpose of life, we're not speaking about Islam, and this inshallah will make him stop. Okay, someone says I'm Catholic or I am Christian. We don't let him go by, we ask him about Jesus. Okay, what do you think about Jesus? Someone who have many books, thank you, I have read about Islam, I have many books about Islam. Okay, ask him, how do you feel about it? Someone says, okay, in brief, and this happened actually. All these apologies are from real life experience. So someone says, okay, in brief, please. So, okay, in brief, but please focus with me. This might be the most important message you get. Okay, so you started your conversation successfully, alhamdulillah, and now you are speaking with the mad'u, or the someone who you are calling, where you're chatting about Islam. Okay, we are going to say how to speak about Islam. The part of what to say exactly, or the content, will be discussed inshallah in the next video. But we here are focusing on what to say, how to speak about Islam. Okay, first you build bridges and find common ground. Remember our 3 da'wah steps. You attract the heart, so you have the pamphlet and you have your smile. He stopped, and now you are beginning the chat. Find common grounds. For example, I give an example here in Egypt. When we speak with the tourist, we ask him, how do you find Egypt? Is this the first Arab country? Did you go to the pyramids? Where are you from? So we are trying to find a common ground, and we are trying to break the ice at the beginning of the conversation. For example, when I have been to the States 5 times, so when I see someone from United States, so I tell him I went to United States, I went to New York, I went to Chicago, and this builds a common ground, in a minute, because the guy, we have something in common. So I don't know, at campus maybe you can ask for his classes, for his major, for his minor, for his hobbies, try to find a common ground with him first. Of course, body language is very important. It's a very significant aspect of communication. You need to watch your body language and his body language, okay? Body language is considered the transmission and interpretation of feelings and mood. What you don't say also counts. So you need to read between the lines and focus on this thing. Of course, you have your smile. Your eye contact is very important. Distance between each other, don't be too close or be too far. how we touch ourselves. Okay, of course you don't want to go scratching your head, or you know, while you are talking with him. His facial expressions need to be monitored. His eye movement, his breathing, his tone of voice. If you find, be prepared to change the subject if you see that he is bored, or he is not interested, or trying to take agreement from him. Have confidence and speak with power. Confidence can actually be seen. Nothing is better than the Quran, nothing is better than the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. So be confident while you are speaking. Avoid using you, say we and us. Even with Muslims, don't say you need to pray, say we need to pray. Listen with the intention to understand, give them time, and repeat what they said. If you repeat what the other person is saying, you automatically transmit to him that you are actually listening to him and you are caring for what he says. Okay. Be polite, a lot of please and thank you. Don't give them the feeling that you are better than them because they're a Muslim. Okay, try to use their names. Of course, make the conversation less formal. And again, we write it again here. Don't go into necessary details. Focus on your target. Change the topic if you detect disinterest through body language or through him saying something. Very important not to use words that are not familiar with them. Don't say inshallah, don't say subhanallah, don't say Allah, because they don't know these names and they are not familiar with them. They are familiar with us Muslim, but they are not familiar with them. Okay, concerning the word Allah, can I say Allah or not? If you want to say Allah, you need to explain first that this is the name of God. But I prefer that you say God, in order not to go into unnecessary questions and details. Just say God and don't use the word Allah. Okay, make it a dialogue, as you remember, not a monologue. You are not presenting Islam, you are chatting about Islam. You need to hear him also. Okay, how to make it a dialogue? Take agreement during the conversation. Like, do you agree with me so far? How do you think about that? Show interest in their ideas and beliefs. If you give him time, he will give you time. For example, we have an example here for a Buddhist. If you met someone who is Buddhist, there are some questions about his belief and what he believes in. So, and at the end, after he answers his questions, you care for him, then he will give you some time. Do you mind to tell you a little about Islam? Don't begin a sentence with no or what you need to understand. This will give a negative message to the receiver. Always begin with your answers with words as if you agree. I understand your point well, and in order to understand it, we need to focus on the concept of Islam first. I appreciate your point, for example. Okay, try to sound neutral, very important. Speak as if you are a third party. Okay, don't say we pray, say Muslims pray. Muslims believe. Muslims do this and do that. Don't say we. Okay, you can say we if he asked. The previous slide said you don't use you, say we. We need to understand. You can say we need to understand, but don't say we pray, say Muslims pray. Okay, while you are having a conversation, he asked you a question, and we say we are going to say how to exactly deal with question. We know that our mission is the concept of Islam, but how to go for that? Okay, listen, don't interrupt him, let him finish all what he wants to say, and acknowledge, praise the question. This is a very good question. I understand why you think that. I understand why some people would think that. But remember, direct the conversation to presenting Islam. To truly understand the answer, we must first understand the concept of Islam or the foundations of Islam. Answer this question at the end of the conversation. Okay, you are asked a question that you don't know, and you will face a question you don't know for the rest of your life. It's continuous knowledge, continuous learning. So how to deal with that? Okay, we have a certain reply here. Don't ever reply with I think. Don't ever change any information in Islam, or don't give an information that you don't know or you are not sure of. So tell him that's a good question. I heard a lot of answer about that. Can I have your email or your contact or your phone number to send you the exact answer, or your Facebook, whatever you are using most in your campus. Try to obtain it and send him the exact answer. And as we said, it's not that Islam have something false, no, it's you that have missing information. Of course, if he insists, sometime he insists, he tells you, no, I don't want the Islam, please answer my question. So provide information about the question's topic to make it clear for him. Okay, if that is a valid question in Islam. Okay. Okay, handling disagreements. He may not have a question. He could disagree. Okay, so remember, we are focusing on presenting Islam, not going into arguments. If the disagreement on something that Muslims accept, but you as an individual disagree, this is not the time for it. Okay, so just accept any disagreement, unless this disagreement, for example, say, okay, I see that God doesn't exist. You can say, okay, I agree, of course. So you need to negotiate, or you need to go through how to prove that God exists. How this, for example, saying that, okay, so how did this universe came into existence? But of course, you will not say, I agree. Okay, it's okay to disagree if it is something that we as Muslims can disagree on. Think about it for a while, but let me complete the concept of Islam. Or you can tell him, we could discuss this topic, but let me just continue the concept of Islam first, because we need to deliver the whole message to the guy. Okay, closing the conversation. How to close the conversation successfully. Okay, at the end, you give him the book as a gift, and remember to persuade him to read it. Please remember to read this. Promise me that you will read this. See, the book came at the last stage. We're not here just throwing some books at people. We are trying to open a chat, and at the end we are giving him the book. Don't neglect the ask. What is the ask? Sometimes you will face people who are interested, people who have no problems with Islam, and people who have no questions, or even they have questions are cleared. We can say they are the truth seekers. Okay, if you find someone like that, don't be afraid to tell him to invite him to Islam. This is why we are here. We are inviting people to Islam. We are not just sharing some information. No, we are trying to invite to Islam. So when you find this guy, invite him. Ask him, what do you think of embracing Islam? Okay, but this is not like a default a question that can be used with every guy or girl you are speaking to. No, this is used for people who are interested. There are people you think they are very close, so don't neglect it. Don't be afraid to say it. Ask him, because some people may have some difficulties going into Islam, but it's very easy to overcome. Okay, of course, be thankful at the end of the discussion. Thank you for your time. Very important to obtain his contact, because people will not revert to Islam from just having a little chit chat with someone at campus. You know, it will not be that easy. It takes some time, especially in Western countries, that you are going to have a big decision. You are changing many aspects in your life. You are thinking, okay, I'm a Muslim, so I need to marry a Muslim. So there are very many variables that are going to change. So it is not that easy decision. So you need some time. In Dawah needs time. So try to obtain contact. Remember to self-evaluate your Dawah, and I promise you, you will make mistakes. All of us make mistakes, especially at the beginning. It's okay. It doesn't mean to stop. It means to learn, and you will have a feeling that after making a conversation with someone, you will have this feeling, I could have done better. It is always there, that you feel that okay, I missed this question, you know. It will always be there, but you are trying to improve yourself. So mistakes happen. Just learn more and have some information if you are missing some questions, but don't stop your da'wah. For example, if you are praying and make mistakes, do you leave the prayer? No, you learn and continue to pray. Okay, one of the most common incidents that occur at the end, he wants to shake hands. So what happens when he is from the another gender? Okay, there is a hadith by the Prophet صلى الله عليه وسلم: لأن يطعن في رأس أحدكم بمخيط من حديد خير له من أن يمس امرأة لا تحل له, which means for one of you to be stabbed in the head with an iron needle is better for him than he should touch a woman he is not permissible for him. So never shake hands with the other gender, and try to avoid it happening from the first place. Okay, keep your distance. If you are a guy, speak to the guy. If a girl, speak to the girl. Keep your distance from another gender. Lower your gaze. Of course, there is no eye contact, so you will try to eliminate the chances of happening. Okay, we are speaking of how to reply if I'm a guy, I'm making da'wah, and okay, there is a guy with his girlfriend, for example, and she has raised her hands to shake my hand at the end. Okay, thank you for your time, and she has raised her hands. How do I reply? I need to have like a default reply, how to handle this situation. Okay, and very important, we don't make this we are trying to, of course, to handle their feelings, but first we please Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we please God. We are not seeking for their, for their pleasure or something. No, we please God first. So how to reply? We can say, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to offend you. Muslim emphasize professional relationships through modest interactions between genders. At that point, this could be said whether you're a guy or a girl. For guys, they can say, they can add, for it God commands us to respect all women. I have no right to touch any woman except what is allowed to me, my wife. And especially girls got affected by this, that Muslim guys don't even touch another girl is not his wife. And for myself, I once had an incident like that in the United States. A girl tried to shake hands with me, and I replied with that, and she said, okay, I respect that, and it's okay. So this leaves them thinking about Islam and thinking about how this religion put these modest interactions between genders. Okay, last point we need to focus on, that not everyone curious about Islam wants to become Muslim. Gaining the respect of non-Muslim is precious as gaining a new Muslim. So remember that not everyone asking many questions wants to convert, but keep with him along the way, but keep this point in mind. Okay, there are many useful resources out there that speak about the how to make da'wah, but this is a very useful website called Dawah Skills, and this a guide made by Ahlan. It is for Dawah bookcases establishment. You will find here many guides and many ideas on how to establish a Dawah table, what to have, the content, the place, the settings. It even speaks about, there are links to some trainings. So these are very useful resources that you could use. I hope you have a quick review of the Dawah book establishment guide. Is very useful, and the website have many articles that you could use and many ideas about Dawah. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you, and meet you in the next video inshallah. Subhanallah wa bihamdik, ashhadu an la anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.